Two short matters to raise. The first is in relation to the commitment by the Government in the Confidence and Supply Agreement to reinvest in the National Treatment Purchase Fund so that people who are waiting too long for treatment in hospitals would get a chance to come off the waiting list. I'd like the Leader to confirm from the Government side that the National Treatment Purchase Fund is being progressed and that it will be set up with urgency to address the ever-increasing waiting lists. Figures for May show that hospital waiting lists have reached a new high, with 74,000 patients currently waiting for inpatient day case treatment. This is an increase of more than 45% in 2 years. The former Minister set up a 15-month target for the end of 2015. However, more than 5,300 patients continue to wait longer than that for treatment. Another 5,691 are waiting between a year and 15 months. The outpatient figures are also continuing to rise, with 415,000 people waiting. 62,000 people are waiting more than a year for an outpatient appointment, and 4,500 are in children's hospitals, with more than 1,800 children waiting more than 15 months. Overall, some 30,000 people are waiting for over 15 months for an outpatient appointment. In my own constituency, 857 patients are waiting more than a year in St James's Hospital for an outpatient appointment, and that's up 588 since December. In Crumlin Children's Hospital, nearly 2,000 children have been waiting more than a year for an outpatient consultation. This is a huge jump of nearly 1,000 since last December. 236 of these children have been waiting 18 months plus. In 2002, Fianna Fáil set up the Treatment Purchase Fund, and in the last year of its existence, in 2010, some 33,000 public patients were facilitated. In total, almost 200,000 public patients were treated under the fund in the years to the end of 2010. The average waiting time for elective treatment in 2010 was just 2.6 months, down from between 2 and 5 years in 2002. Furthermore, in 2010, prices negotiated with the private hospital system were on average 8% lower than the previous year. I would like the Government to confirm again that the National Treatment Purchase Fund is being progressed and that it is to be set up urgently to address these ever-increasing waiting lists. The second issue I would like to address is that of older people and loneliness, including elder abuse in the community. On the 15th day of June of this year, it was World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Many of us have friends, close relatives and neighbours who we know who are living alone and feel from time to time varying degrees of isolation and loneliness. This isolation and loneliness leaves many older people very vulnerable and open to abuse by those who, as the statistics have shown, are closest to them and meant to be their caregivers. The charity alone have reported that abuse of older people is often carried out by a carer or family member that the older person relies upon, and as a result, the abused individual is often fearful of speaking out and losing their only source of contact, help or support. Elder abuse, as has been defined, is a single or repeated act or lack of appropriate action occurring within any relationship where there is an expectation of trust which causes harm or distress to an older person or violates their human or civil rights. 65 years of age is taken as a point which abuse may be considered elder abuse. Elder abuse can manifest itself in many forms. It can be physical, emotional, financial or neglect. The World Health Organization identifies social isolation as a risk factor in elder abuse. As people's support networks narrow and they become more reliant on individuals, the risk of elder abuse heightens. If you suspect that an older person may be in need of help or suffering from abuse, you may contact their GP, Gardaí, public health nurse or HSE care worker. In our communities, it is imperative that centres for caring for the elderly, from active retirement facilities to more hands-on centres for Alzheimer's or more serious impairments issues, are funded and supported by the Government to ensure that this sense of loneliness and anxiety is not felt by the huge proportion of our citizens as it is today. I'd like to see an increase in hours allocated for the home health care packages and the introduction of some type of scheme intimated by Senator Kelleher, whereby elderly people are supported to stay in their homes rather than going into a nursing home, which can, in very many circumstances, be very traumatising for the individual, and it's a massive change in their life. In light of more recent developments and irregularities in Console in particular, I'd like the Government not to leave this gap in funding to non-governmental organisations. The Government must act now to properly fund and progress facilities and supports for our elderly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.